Hello everyone. Super good morning to everybody. Welcome to the 16th of October today. Today is 16th of October. How you guys all doing? Half the month gone. Right, really, yeah, everything happened in the blink of an eye. Half a month is already gone. Right, so we are back at the juncture looking at the bridge to 2026, and today we are talking about the Piggy, which is this year's year breaker. Right, so this year's year breaker. So next year is gonna be the rat, right? So rat is clashing next year. So year breaker is the animal that clashes with the animal of the year. So this year the animal of the year is the snake. So the right opposite is basically the pig, right? So those are year breakers. So every single year also got a year breaker. So and every single animal also gonna become the year breaker, in a 12-year span. So there's actually nothing much to be scared about. Confirm you're gonna get it one. Okay, right? So I can see Pepper is around, Manuel, Bonnie, Guan Boon, Jocelyn, PJ Ko, Hannah, Wong is around, Saw is around, Jeannie, Kelvin. How's you guys all doing? Hopefully everybody doing well. Alright, so a bit of a news. I think yesterday in Klang area there, we got our first official tornado. Right, Malaysia is getting more exciting. We are now collecting earthquake. So right now we got tornado, hailstorm we have already last time. So look like, for a country that supposedly don't have a lot of natural disaster, we are starting to collect natural disaster. Right, so that was for yesterday. Right, so come, let's take a look at the piggy. Wouldn't call it poor little piggy. Let's go it down. Right, so as usual, go and get your BaZi chart printed from the Taipei Astro. Register yourself a free account enough. So open up the BaZi chart and you can take a look at this particular portion. So this portion is called your natal chart, right? So this is just basically your Gregorian birth date translated back into how the ancient Chinese would have written a date. So the ancient Chinese using the 60 pillar method of writing dates, right? So this is just where the date is being written. Don't look at it as something very special. So if you take a look at it, there is a year, there's a month, there is a day, there is an hour. It's just that it is not written in your familiar numbers. That's it, right? So it is using the Chinese wording to write. So each of the pillar represent different facade or different area or different aspect of your life, right? So each of them govern different things, right? So now depending where the pig actually exists, right? So it can appear in the year, or it can appear in the month, right? So it can appear in the day, it can appear in the hour. Right, so that would basically impact you, right? So and the system that we are looking at for Chinese New Year, right? So all this New Year forecast is using a system called Shen Sha, right? So or the English one is called auxiliary star, right? Because the direct translation is God killing, right? Shen Sha is God killing. Right, so it sounds a bit ominous, dangerous, right? So auxiliary star seems to be a bit a nicer translation, right? It's just a translation word, right? So now every year the auxiliary star get redistributed, right? So this year it was distributed, in relation to the horse, so no, this is a relation to the snake. So the snake become the primary locking mechanism, then all the stars is distributed in relation to snake. So next year we're going to collect all the stars. It's the exact same stars, nothing special, right? So and then we're going to redistribute it by using the horse as the central point. That's all, right? Video is not playing. Oh yeah, is it? Hey, what happened? Hey, wait. Okay, thanks for telling me that. Let me just check. Wait, Bing. Why? Wait, what happened? 发生什么事? Okay, I think we are back. We are back. Now okay, can see. Tick. Thank you for telling me that the video is a bit on the jam side. Okay, cool. Right, so we'll go back to this. Right, so going back to this, I also don't know what I thought until already, but never mind. Go and find your animal sign, right? So that's the bottom line, right? So if you have a pig inside any one of these, then today's session is important to you. No, if you don't have a pig, then go and look at the other animal, right? So what are the other animal that's available, right? So these are all the animal that's available. So the one with the racing flag are the one that we have already done, right? So there's already a video about it. We have already completed the video. So we have done the tiger, we have done the rabbit, we have done the horse, we have done the goat, right? So we've done the monkey, we have done the rooster, we have done the dog, we have done the rat, we have done the ox yesterday. I think yesterday we did it. So today we are gonna take a look at the little piggy, right? So little piggy today. Right, so pretty simple itself, right? So like right now, then you can have a comparison, right? So you can have a comparison like this year the Grand Duke, right, for the pig, right? So you can see that the pig actually got quite a lot of pretty okay star. Would you say pretty okay star, right? Pretty okay star like Sky Bright, Month Emptiness, National Treasure, Sky Horse, right? So whereas if you take a look at the red for 2026, right? Red for 2028 doesn't really have any star, and then there's huge amount of negative star, right? So you can see even being a year breaker, right, and there is a difference one here, right? So even being a year breaker, there is a difference. Some year not so bad being a year breaker, some year a bit more worse. Like for example, the year breaker for this particular year. So you can see that the fella got Sky Horse, the fella got National Treasure. So it is a pig that look like is on the run. Right, so now just imagine National Treasure as in the fella took something that belong to somebody. Then Sky Horse is need to run away. Right, so it's like somebody who's on exile this year being chased, right? So it's like someone who has a wanted poster stick all around the town, right? So this poor pig this particular year need to find place to hide, right? So need to being chased around by people, being blamed for stuff that doesn't really, maybe it's not really that fella's fault. Right, so it's a pig that so you guys know pig is supposed to be a bit more on the fat side, right? So this year the pig is a bit on the thinner side, because of being exiled, right? So being misunderstood by people, right? So doing anything also is also got this sky sadness there, right? So sky sadness is a feeling of being abandoned, also, and then got great consumer, no money some more. By the way, every single time that is a year breaker, the great consumer is together with the year breaker. So the great consumer is talking about enormous amount of spending. Now enormous here, there is no actual price tag on it. Enormous is enormous in relation to your normal spending. Right? So if your normal spending is like 10,000, might be enormous to you for some people, right? So like yesterday only, there was a news that father had to send his 3 children to the orphanage because he really don't have money to raise the 3 children really. Right, so some parent got a massive amount of money, right? Only managed to come in now. All right, okay, all right. So I think probably something's wrong with the Facebook, YouTube. Wrong, blame the wrong guy. Hello Carol, how are you doing? Right, so now that's the overall condition of the pig this particular year. I wouldn't say it's bad. I'll just tell you first. Given taking a look at most of the year breaker, the pig is having it pretty okay. I would say that it's having it pretty okay. Right, so if you then take a look at next year, so next year, the fella got month virtue, right? So got heaven virtue, got 5 prosperity. By the way, the 5 prosperity in the olden days is basically ample of food to eat. That's it. Right, so ample of food to eat, right? So don't need to worry. In the olden day, food is very very important. Just tell you first. In the olden day, China having access to food is more important, right? So money is actually not important in the olden day, right? In the olden day, important commodity are firewood. You don't know, China important commodity firewood because last time it is you don't get energy to directly send to your house, so like right now you got electricity line, you got gas line. Last time don't have. So if you don't have firewood, you die in winter. So last time firewood is very important. Firewood, food, access to food, right? So those are important things. So with 5 prosperity, usually you don't have to worry about this sort of stuff. So which means next year the pig is gonna be able to repair this year. Right, so you got the month virtue and heavenly yield. Both of this is very good as a problem solving stuff. So which means whatever stuff that you are going through right now, whatever, if you have any misunderstanding that was happening, so next year you get to rectify all the misunderstanding, right? So if there's any wrongdoing, I just say the wrongdoing, right? So you will be able to rectify all the wrongdoing, right? So it's a year of reckoning. You want to call it reckoning, can, right? Still cannot see the video. It look okay to me. Right, at least on my screen it look okay lah. So we got the monitoring screen. Anybody else is not seeing, you might want to just refresh your link and see. Right, just refresh your link and see whether it connects or not. Right, so it look pretty alright from my side. Right, so yeah, can't do much. Right, so first advice, when I talk about keep score, now keep score is not it's not asked for you to go for vengeance. By the way, next year you don't really have any card to do vengeance anyway, right? So, but anyway, keep score mean that take a look at this particular year, who are the people who have assisted you and who are the people who have put a fit on you lah. So yeah, that's called keeping score, right? So now what happens is that next year, go and thanks those people who has help you out, right? So we have helped you out. And also now in terms of being exiled, mean that those family that take you in, when you are it's raining outside, or in the cold night, those fella who come over and give you some pao to eat, you guys know those type of situation, right? Depending on what you're doing, there are going to be people who come and a bit more compassionate to you, and these are people that you should right now start taking note and start remembering that this fella has done good to me, right? So next year, when I'm starting to do good, that time, you will be the part of people that I should do something to help you out again, especially if you know that that fella is rat. Right, so yeah, because next year the rat is gonna be just like you, my year breaker, so you can put your hand on the shoulder of the rat and say that I understand what you are going through today. Correct lah, you understand lah. But the rat is gonna get it a little bit more tougher than you, because you can still run because of the sky horse. Right, because of the sky horse you can still siam. Right, so you can still move yourself away, right? So whereas the rat don't have anything to move themselves away, so the rat have to stay still and take the hit, right? So yes, so for this particular year, so again, this one is to talk about right now until 2026, which is on the February, then only we transit, right? So now the what we call the month virtual heavenly year, only 2026 February only come in. You don't go and almighty right now, trying to do stuff, right? So right now you're still in a year breaker state, right? So now usually year breaker state, whatever you do, chances of backfiring is very high. Right, so if you take a look at it, so obstacle is basically there, right? So you got your year breaker, right? So you got your peeling head, right? So these are all very obstacle-ish type of energy, right? So whatever you do, it tend to backfire. So that's why during a year breaker year, it's actually better for you to do less. Right, so like for example, if the year breaker is in the year, right? So year is social circle, then you social less. Won't die one, social less. Okay, right? So or when you talk about the month is your career. Now it's not asking you to work less, it's asking you don't volunteer for stuff. So which means that you are supposed to come to work at 9, you come to work at 9, then you're supposed to go off at 5, right? You chun 5 o'clock, you punch out, you go home. Right, you're supposed to punch in, punch out, that's it, right? So don't get yourself involved with projects and all those kind of things, right? So it's not a year for you to show performance, it's a year for you to actually try to be a bit more invisible, right? So it's those type of situation, right? So now depending on again which pillar, you can formulate out different scenario for yourself, right? So it really depends on where the thing falls. So there's no one size fits all, right? So again, from right now until then, please don't go and confront stuff, right? So the more you be confrontational, the deeper the problem that you're gonna get yourself into. Right, so it is not a good strategy for you to do so. So that's why the sky horse actually allow you to leave the area whereby it is causing problem. You can walk away, right? You can basically walk away from the place whereby it's causing problem, right? So this is one way of using sky horse. One way of using sky horse is actually just to leave the area. You want to call seek out new area also can. Leaving a set area, seek out a new area. So next year, when the start is better, then only you go back and there. I tell you so. Next year you can do that. Next year after February, you can go back to all the places where people has been unkind to you, and that is provided that you want, right? So you can go back and tell them that hey, see, look at it. Right, so I have a friend with pig in demand, and she got a raise this year. Good lah, right? So got a raise this year, right? So which is something that's great, right? So then you take a look at the basic overall BaZi chart of the fella. It's probably that particular BaZi chart is in need of fire. So because the energy coming in is basically fire, right? So if it's in need of fire, then it changed the temperature of the chart, regulated the chart. Probably her entire chart was a bit too watery, or what we call a bit too frozen. Right, when it's too frozen, the clash coming actually releases a lot of the burden. Right, so sometimes the chart too cold means that everything is winter there. Then when fire come in, it melts the water. Right, so the chart becomes flowing. Right, the idea of a good chart is a chart that flows. If the chart anyhow gets stuck and then it doesn't work. Right, so now frugal spending. So you can see this year got great consumer, next year got lesser consumer. So either way, spending seems to be an issue for both the year. Right, so the difference between great consumer and lesser consumer would be in actual sense that great consumer is a forced spending, whereas lesser consumer is a voluntary spending. Right, that's basically the particular system. Right, so then you can take a look at it. Right, so she got 2 horses. Okay, then next year probably a bit careful, right? So got 2 horses because you have the self-punishment next year. Right, so self-punishment next year, right? So then see whether the fella will right do something that is stupid, right? So back to this one. You will take a look at the overall circumstance for this particular fella, right? So this year is on exile, right? So this year is exile, feel a bit being bullied by people. By the way, and every single time you are going through this year breaker, the feeling is the world is against you. It's a very normal feeling. The world is against you, very normal feeling. The actual message that the year breaker usually carry is whatever you have been doing, the style, the method, the methodology that you have been done is actually doesn't work anymore. It's time for you to adopt a new energy. That's all I need. Right, so that's basically what the year breaker is. It's basically telling you that your old style cease to work anymore, right? So time for you to adopt a new style, right? So for those people who are willing to adopt a new style, actually year breaker is nothing. Year breaker is a very, very good way of breaking free, right? So like for example, Olga's friend, right? So now I've given you a what we call raise or a what do you call that? You forgot already lah. Today brain is not working, right? So promotion, right? So giving you a promotion doesn't mean good one. Sometimes the position that you promote to you are utterly not ready to pick up the position, right? So I usually call pedestal position 神台啊，Cantonese 講神台位啦，升你上神台位。So already know that particular position is very, very problematic. And by the way, do you know that Japan, if they usually don't fire people in Japan. So what they do is that they really just promote you away from their department, Yeah, they make you into somebody else's problem. Instead of firing you, they basically just promote you to another department. Right, that's one way to do so, right? So sometimes, please, sometimes don't think of promotion is good. Right, so what if you promoted to a position whereby the annual quota, right? So suddenly you are doing sales, doing fine, then suddenly promote you to sales manager, and then you have to take up the annual sales target. Now it's not something that you can simply do this sort of stuff. As you can see, right? So that's why sometimes don't see promotion, maybe bad. This piggy looks so skinny, haggard, poor fella. Yeah lah, this year on exile, right? On exile, no money to buy food because of greater consumer. Right? So really, this is like a pig that is been being chased away from the town. Go outside. Has been wandering around the countryside for very long, right? So if you take a look at the next year stars, which means that the fella, after wandering for a very long time, finally found another city. Right, finally got new hope, right? So finally found another city, was like lost in the wild for the longest over time. So that's why it's look a bit thin, right? So look a bit thin, right? So next year, can start to fatten up again, right? So next year can start to fatten up again, right? So while to the adventure of fighting things, remember everybody who have help you, right? So now whether you want to remember those people who have failed you before, that one up to you lah, huh? Okay, right? So I often say that vengeance doesn't bring you any justice, right? Okay, right? So go and work with people who are willing to work with you. For those that are not willing to work with you, right, just let them be whatever that there is. If they happen to be successful, it is on their own. If they fail, you at least can go back and say that I say so. Right. So number two is that don't pick a fight. Right. So this year is not a year for you to pick a fight. Anybody who's going through year breaker, I tell you, usually you pick a fight, you usually get into trouble. Right. So try not to. Right. So then of course again already got greater consumer, so which means that the flowing out expenses is already very high. Right. So need to be a bit frugal. Right. So don't be don't be overly too spendthrift. So next year, so again next year the rat is gonna have the great consumer and the year breaker. Right. So fellow rat. Right. So if you're a rat right now, you can start talking to the pig already. How was the experience being the year breaker? Yeah, I know you can start doing the pig already. The pig right now can start sharing you some example and some life experience and tactic. Right. So and I would say that the rat should talk to the pig, because why? Again, the pig next year have some problem solving things, right? So if this year you make good friends with the pig and you assisted the pig, right? So the pig owe you, right? So like normal, right? So the pig owes you. So next year when the pig is doing good, then you can collect. Right. So these are strategy, right? So that's why you want to know what are the changes in terms of the energetic changes, right? So nobody is forever good, nobody is forever bad, right? So Chinese metaphysics, the energy just go up and down, right? So just go up and down. Is how do you catch the timing, right? So that's why we want to know what is happening, then we shape the flow of the energy to our strategy, right? So that's the part of it that's a bit different, right? What does a BaZi chart with a good with good and what do you mean by BaZi chart with good? No, to me every BaZi chart also is good. Right? To me, every BaZi chart also is good. The mistake always is that the monkey trying to swim, the fish trying to climb the tree. That is usually people's mistake one. So which means that if your BaZi chart is supposed to be a fish, you go compete in the water lah. That's it. If you're a monkey, compete in the tree. Right? Some people cannot for the what we call cannot fathom this entire idea that you are superior in certain area, right? So they just want to go to the area whereby they are the most unsuperior and trying to make a life out of it from that area. So what does chart with good flow entail? Doing things in a bit more easier. When the chart is in flow, basically whatever that got thrown onto you, you are able to handle it. Right, your ability to handle the changes in your chart is basically better. Right, so again, this one is very traditional. Traditional, they want balanced flow chart. For modern reading, we basically look at which one is your natural tendency. You work towards your natural tendency. Right, so again, if you are somebody who crave freedom, somebody who basically crave creativity, you cannot be working in an area whereby everything is restricted, everything is red tape. You just have to go to some places whereby creativity, freedom is being valued. That's it, right? So same thing, if you are a Lamborghini, you have your Ferrari, right? So you need to drive in highway. You cannot be driving in the sand pit. But if you are the what we call the sand truck, driving in highway is useless to you. You cannot go too fast, But if you are functioning in sandpit, then you're the champion. Right. So that is one of the reasons why you want to understand your BaZi chart functionality and also your thinking pattern. Right, thinking pattern, your natural tendency to look at situations. Certain people see danger, run into danger. Then you go and get a career whereby being able to charge into danger is a positive point. Right, so you can go for things like being a firefighter, right? So those, right? So when your 7 killing is very high, like that's basically And so when your 7 killing is a bit high, you are a bit on the more courageous and brave side. So you go and do work that require high courage and high braveness. And then you're just at home, right? So if for this sort of people, which very high 7 killing one, I ask you to go and do artistic work. Artistic work cannot, the fella cannot. Right? The fella will feel like killing himself. Or you go and ask those fella, eating god one. It's very artistic one. Go and fight, sure die one. So I say that that's why Zhuge Liang cannot send to battle, die one. Right? The fella cannot fight. right? So if you ask Guan Yu to sit around, cannot. The fella cannot sit around. Right? So now, okay, guys, that's basically for those of you who have a pick inside your chart, right? So just additional for you, pick next year is called a hidden combination with the horse. Yes, pick have a combination, unofficial hidden combination with the horse. So which means that the pick next year actually is able to quietly borrow the influence of the horse, which is a powerful position. Okay, which is a powerful position, and with the month virtue and also the heavenly virtue and 5 prosperity, there is a lot of things that the pig can do when other people is not able to execute. Right, so the pig next year is like the ace in the sleeve. Wild card, Joker card, right? So it's the Joker card, right? So things that cannot do, and then suddenly the pig show up and rescue the situation. Those things. Pig can do this sort of role next year. Right, so find some pig friend, please. Right, so they have some use. All right, so next year. Right, so okay, that's it, guys. See you all. Bye.